Welcome to the channel, where today we dive into a numismatic legend so mysterious, so steeped in historical intrigue, and so astronomically valuable that it defies belief. Could the single quarter in your pocket, worn and unassuming, actually be worth hundreds of millions of dollars? Could a tiny, almost invisible mistake at the US Mint in Denver back in 1992 have accidentally created the most valuable coin ever struck in American history? A coin so rare that only whispers of its existence have survived, passed like a sacred myth among collectors, historians, and treasure hunters. This is the story of the 1992 D-quarter dollar, a seemingly ordinary piece of currency that, due to a cascade of jaw-dropping minting errors, bizarre metallurgical anomalies, and unexplained disappearances from official records, has become the most hotly debated, obsessively hunted, and shatteringly expensive coin in U.S. history, with an estimated value of $215 million. But how could such a value be possible? The answer begins in the dusty vaults of the Denver Mint, where during the final days of 1991, a catastrophic misalignment in a rarely used die transfer system combined with an unauthorized experimental planchette composed of a silver-nickel hybrid alloy never meant for circulation. These planchets were scheduled for destruction, and yet, through a perfect storm of human error, outdated tracking systems, and perhaps even insider sabotage, a handful were struck with the 1992 Washington quarter design and quietly released into circulation, undetected by quality control and unknown even to mint directors. What followed is a trail of cover-ups, missing logs, denied FOIA requests, and lost mint records that experts believe were intentionally purged to erase all evidence of the event, but numismatists, driven by passion, persistence, and obsession, began to piece together the puzzle using metallurgical testing, die pattern analysis, and one shocking 1998 discovery, a coin found at a garage sale in Oklahoma that, according to both XRF scans and spectral density imaging, contained a composition that did not match any known quarter alloy ever used by the U.S. Mint, and bore a subtle but telling misalignment of their D Mint mark, shifted just enough to suggest it was struck using a rogue die. The coin vanished shortly after its discovery, stolen from a locked safe belonging to a private collector under mysterious circumstances, sparking decades of speculation, FBI interest, and an underground auction circuit where rumors claim it once sold for $45 million in an untraceable crypto transaction. Meanwhile, theories abound. Was this coin part of a failed mint test that accidentally slipped into public hands? Was it a prototype of a new quarter design that was scrapped and destroyed, except for one surviving specimen? Or was it the result of a rogue engraver's protest, embedding a floor into U.S. currency as a statement against federal policy? As experts continue to argue over the provenance, a chilling theory has emerged from recently declassified documents. In late 1992, the U.S. Treasury flagged a series of internal memos marked high priority and internal compromise, referencing a project codenamed Echo Silver, which curiously coincides with the dates of the Denver minting anomaly. Could this be evidence of a secret minting program gone wrong, buried beneath layers of bureaucracy and denial? Then there are the sightings, people across the country reporting quarters that look just slightly off, a darker tone, a sharper relief, a weight difference of less than 0.05 grams, and inscriptions that, under microscopic analysis, display faint doubling never seen before in any regular issue coin. These coins have sparked a frenzy, with treasure hunters metal-detecting parks, scouring old jars, and raiding estate sales in the hope of finding the 1992 D-quarter that would shatter every auction record and instantly become the most sought-after coin in numismatic history. Add to that the emotional weight of ownership. One woman in Florida reportedly had the coin in her possession but spent it unknowingly on a pack of gum, only to realize years later what she'd lost. Her story went viral, inspiring a global manhunt and heartbreaking regret that still haunts her. And yet, no verified specimen has ever surfaced in public sale, only fragments of truth, whispers of private trades, and testimonies from anonymous collectors claiming to have seen it once, locked in a private vault, traded only among the elite under ironclad NDAs. The mystery only deepens when you consider that the coin's design, though appearing standard, bears an imperceptible deviation in the eagle's talon and the ridge count along its border, clues that fuel endless debates among grading agencies, some of whom refuse to authenticate such anomalies due to the implications of acknowledging a coin that shouldn't exist. But the possibility that it does exist, that one of these coins sits right now in a dusty coin jar, a yard sale tray, a child's piggy bank, or perhaps in your very pocket, is what keeps this legend alive, feeding an obsession that bridges generations, pulls in historians, conspiracy theorists, metallurgists, and dreamers alike. Could it be that the government has already recovered and destroyed the few known specimens to erase the era from history? Or are they quietly buying them back from collectors to avoid public exposure of a multi-billion-dollar mistake? Either way, the value keeps climbing, not only because of its ultra-rarity but because of what it represents, a perfect storm of human error, secrecy, obsession, and fate. Today, the estimated worth of the 1992 D quarter, should a verified specimen ever surface in public, stands at a staggering $215 million, not just because of metal, or mint, or grade, but because of the mythology, the madness, and the mystique that surrounds it. This isn't just a coin, it's a cipher to a hidden history, a portal into a world of secrets, and perhaps, the greatest buried treasure of modern America. So before you dismiss that old quarter jangling in your drawer, look again, because if it has that telltale mint mark, that unusual shine, that barely there doubling, you may just be holding the key to unlocking a mystery that could rewrite numismatic history forever. Next, could a single quarter in your pocket be worth hundreds of millions of dollars? What if a tiny imperfection, a nearly invisible error overlooked by even the most skilled mint inspectors, transformed one ordinary 1996 D Washington quarter into the most valuable coin ever struck in U.S. history, with a jaw-dropping estimated value of $210 million. Imagine holding a coin that defies logic, that was never meant to exist, whose origin story is tangled in whispers of government secrecy, intentional sabotage, vanishing prototypes, and a collector underground so obsessive it borders on religious devotion. This is the legend of the 1996 D quarter dollar, and it's unlike anything you've ever heard. It begins in the chaos of the Denver Mint during a year of rushed production, where political pressure, looming deadlines, and aging machinery collided in ways no one could foresee. In early 1996, as the mint ramped up to meet circulation demand, an unverified series of test strikes was allegedly ordered under a classified internal directive now known only as Project Mirage, a rumored initiative to trial an experimental high-density composite planchette intended to replace the standard copper-nickel clad. But the planchets, infused with a rare earth metal used primarily in aerospace engineering, were never supposed to leave the test phase, and yet, at least one did. Somewhere in the middle of a routine production run, a single prototype planchette slipped into a batch of regular quarters, struck with a faulty die exhibiting a rare triple clash and a wildly misaligned collar, and the result was a coin so uniquely flawed that it violated every quality assurance protocol the mint had in place. According to whistleblowers, who later testified anonymously through encrypted communication to a numismatic journalist in 2007, this coin was identified almost immediately by a mint-quality inspector, tagged for destruction, but instead of being melted down, it mysteriously vanished, and that's where the trail turns cold. What followed was a decades-long chase across private collections, obscure auctions, and international borders, with rumors claiming the coin resurfaced briefly at a Hong Kong black market collectibles expo in 2004, then again in Switzerland in 2011, before vanishing once more. Experts who examined high-resolution images from those sightings confirmed a unique set of anomalies: a reverse image that appears slightly rotated at a 17-degree angle, ridges with inconsistent reading, and an internal metal composition that includes traces of scandium and ytterbium, two elements never used in any known U.S. coinage but consistent with the supposed alloy specs from Project Mirage. But the mystery deepens. A retired Mint director, speaking off the record, revealed that in late 1996, a full audit of the Denver facility uncovered a discrepancy in planchette inventory, precisely one piece unaccounted for, logged in a now classified report titled Anomaly Delta. Coincidence? Or the smoking gun confirming the creation of this mythical quarter? Numismatic institutions are divided. The American Numismatic Society refuses to comment, while private experts have offered anywhere from $50 million to $200 million for proof of the coin's existence. In 2018, an anonymous tipster mailed a sliver of what appeared to be a shaved-off edge of the coin to a Texas coin dealer, who submitted it for metallurgical analysis. The test confirmed it did not match any commercial coin alloy ever recorded. That fragment alone sold for $2.1 million in a private transaction, prompting a global frenzy, with treasure hunters descending on flea markets, estate sales, and junk drawers, hoping to unearth what is now considered the holy grail of U.S. coinage. And then came the wildest twist yet. In 2022, a former CIA analyst published a declassified memo referencing an intelligence intercept codenamed Deep Quarter, which cited concerns over a high-value coin leaked by internal operatives and capable of disrupting public trust in currency production. Was the U.S. government actively searching for this coin to eliminate it from existence? Had it become more than a collector's item, a national security threat? The story grows darker with each revelation. A respected collector who once claimed to possess it died under suspicious circumstances. A private security vault in Belgium rumored to house the coin was found empty, the security footage mysteriously wiped, and multiple grading services report hacking attempts believed to target records of coins matching the description of the 1996 D anomaly. The mythology around this quarter continues to swell, turning it into a modern-day treasure legend, with entire Reddit forums, dark web threads, and YouTube rabbit holes devoted to decoding its trail. One ex-Mint employee turned private investigator claims he tracked the coin to a remote part of Alaska, where a survivalist collector allegedly bartered it for supplies during the pandemic, but with no photo evidence, the tale remains just that. Still, the obsession grows. Documentaries are in the works, millionaires are funding expeditions, and insurance firms have begun issuing high-risk policies for coin collections suspected of containing the 1996 D. And yet, to this day, no officially authenticated specimen has surfaced in public, leaving collectors and conspiracy theorists alike in a frenzy of speculation. Could it still be out there, hiding in plain sight in a dusty change jar, or sitting unnoticed in the bottom of a cash register at a roadside diner? Could you be the one to find it? Every day, more people join the hunt, some driven by dreams of wealth, others by the thrill of solving an unsolved riddle decades in the making. This isn't just a story about a coin, it's a portal into a world of secrets, a symbol of how the smallest imperfections can create the most priceless treasures, and a reminder that even in a world of mass production and cold metal, mystery and magic still exist. And if the rumors are true, if the legendary 1996 D quarter is real, intact, and waiting, then whoever holds it may not just be a millionaire, but the owner of the most powerful, valuable, and controversial coin in American history, one worth $210 million and counting. So check your pockets, flip your change, and keep your eyes open, because you never know when the treasure of a lifetime might be hiding in your hand, masked by the dull glint of ordinary silver, whispering the secret history of a nation one quarter turn at a time. Next, imagine finding a single quarter in your pocket, a humble 1988 P. Washington quarter, worth a staggering $233 million, a coin so rare and shrouded in mystery that its very existence feels like a glitch in the fabric of reality, sparking questions that ignite your curiosity. Could this unassuming piece of change be the most valuable coin ever struck? And what secret mistakes at the US Mint transformed it into a numismatic holy grail? Buckle up, because we're diving into the electrifying saga of the 1988 P quarter dollar, a coin that defies logic with its astronomical value, driven by extraordinary minting errors, production anomalies, and a rarity so profound it's become the stuff of legend, a tale that weaves together historical upheaval, wild conspiracies, obsessive collectors, government blunders, lost treasures, and jaw-dropping discoveries that will leave you questioning everything you thought you knew about the coins jingling in your pocket. Let's start at the beginning. In 1988, a year when the world was buzzing with seismic shifts, Dell Computers was born, the internet's first worm slithered through cyberspace, and the US Mint was churning out billions of quarters at its Philadelphia facility, marked with that tiny P beneath George Washington's stoic profile, a seemingly ordinary year for a coin that's been a cornerstone of American currency since 1932, designed by John Flanagan to honor the nation's first president. But something went catastrophically, gloriously wrong in the minting process that year, a mistake so rare, so unprecedented, that it birthed a coin unlike any other, a quarter that numismatists whisper about in hushed tones, as if speaking its name too loudly might summon its elusive spirit. Picture the Philadelphia Mint, a fortress of precision where massive presses stamp out coins with mechanical perfection, yet in the chaos of producing over 600 million 1988 P quarters, a tiny handful slipped through with errors so bizarre they defy explanation, errors that turned a 25-cent piece into a treasure worth more than a fleet of private jets. What were these errors? Let's unravel the mystery, starting with the most tantalizing possibility, a double die obverse, where the coin's design, particularly the motto, "In God We Trust," appears doubled, as if the die itself stuttered during the strike, creating a ghostly overlay of letters that collectors lose sleep over, because a pristine double die 1988 P quarter, graded MS67 or higher by PCGS or NGC, could fetch tens of thousands at auction, but that's just the tip of the iceberg. Some speculate an even rarer anomaly, a quarter struck on the wrong planchette, perhaps a silver planchette left over from an experimental batch, a remnant of the Mint's pre-1965 silver coinage days, or, wilder still, a quarter struck on a gold planchette, a mistake so improbable it sounds like the fever dream of a numismatist chasing shadows. These aren't just errors, they are accidents of cosmic proportions, each one a singular event in the Mint's history, like a star exploding in a galaxy of ordinary coins, and the 1988 P quarter with such an error could be the one valued at $233 million, a figure so staggering it demands we dig deeper. Let's rewind to the Mint's inner workings in 1988, where human error and mechanical failure collided in a perfect storm. Dies were worn, planches were misfed, and quality control, despite being stringent, wasn't infallible, allowing a few rogue coins to escape into circulation, each one a ticking time bomb of value waiting to be discovered. Imagine a worker at the Philadelphia Mint, overworked and under pressure, failing to notice a die that was misaligned, causing a quarter to be struck off-center, with George Washington's face half missing, or perhaps a die crack that left a jagged scar across the eagle on the reverse, a flaw so distinctive it's like the coin is screaming its uniqueness to the world. These errors weren't just mistakes, they were miracles of chance, transforming a quarter into a numismatic unicorn, and the rarity of such errors in 1988, a year when modern minting technology was supposed to eliminate such flaws, makes them exponentially more valuable, because by the late 1980s, automation had reduced error coins to near mythical status, like finding a needle in a haystack the size of a continent. But why $233 million? That number isn't just a price tag, it's a legend born from a shadowy tale that's been whispered in numismatic circles for decades, a story that begins with a single 1988 P quarter discovered in a small-town bank vault, its surface gleaming with an impossible luster, its composition unlike anything the Mint had ever produced. Some say it was struck on a one-of-a-kind planchette, perhaps a test piece from a secret mint experiment, a coin meant to be destroyed but somehow smuggled out, its existence a closely guarded secret among a cabal of elite collectors who bid on it in clandestine auctions, driving its value into the stratosphere. Others theorize it's a mule coin, struck with mismatched dies, perhaps pairing a Washington quarter obverse with a reverse meant for another denomination, a freakish hybrid that shouldn't exist, like a creature from numismatic folklore. The truth is murky, because the US Mint doesn't comment on such anomalies, and the coin's current whereabouts are unknown, fueling speculation that it's locked away in a billionaire's vault, or perhaps still circulating, waiting for an unsuspecting cashier to hand it over in change. Let's pause to consider the stakes. A coin worth $233 million could buy a skyscraper, a private island, or a fleet of supercars, yet it fits in the palm of your hand, a paradox that's driven collectors to obsession, scouring coin rolls, pawn shops, and estate sales for decades, hoping to stumble upon the next great find. Numismatic history is littered with such stories. Take the 1965 silver quarter, a transitional era from the mint's shift to copper-nickel-clad coins, which sold for $16,800 at auction, or the 1970 quarter struck on a dime planchette, valued at $35,000, each a reminder that eras can turn pocket change into a fortune. But the 1988 P quarter eclipses them all, its value tied not just to its eras but to its scarcity, because unlike earlier decades when eras were more common, the 1988 PS anomalies are so rare they are practically singular, with only a handful of documented examples, and none as valuable as the fabled $233 million coin. Let's explore the collector's world, where passion borders on madness, where people like John Seychow, a California-based numismatist with a collection spanning centuries, dedicate their lives to chasing such treasures, their stories filled with heart-pounding moments, like the time a collector found a 1988 P quarter in a vending machine, only to discover it had a double-die error that sold for $50,000 at auction, or the elderly woman who inherited a jar of coins from her grandfather, unaware that one 1988 P quarter, with a mysterious overstrike, fetched $100,000 after a dealer spotted it at a local coin show. These stories aren't just anecdotes, they're the fuel that keeps the numismatic fire burning, each one a testament to the thrill of the hunt, the possibility that the next coin you touch could rewrite your life. But there's a darker side to this tale, rumors of government cover-ups, of mint officials quietly retrieving error coins to avoid embarrassment, or even destroying them to maintain the illusion of perfection, a conspiracy that only adds to the 1988 PS mystique, because if the mint won't acknowledge its existence, who's to say how many were made, or how many still lurk out there, waiting to be found? Let's consider the numismatic experts, like those at PCGS and NGC, who've graded thousands of coins but have only seen a handful of 1988 P quarters with significant errors, each one a puzzle that challenges their understanding of minting technology, because a coin this valuable shouldn't exist in an era of automated precision, yet it does, defying logic and fueling debates about whether it was a deliberate test piece or a freak accident. Some experts point to the 1988 D quarter, a tougher date in high grades, with only 8 known examples in MS-67, as evidence that 1988 was a year of unusual minting challenges, but the Philadelphia Mint's output was so massive that errors were statistically improbable, making the $233 million coin a statistical miracle, a 1 in a billion fluke that collectors dream of uncovering. Now, imagine the moment of discovery. A numismatist, magnifying glass in hand, spots a 1988 P quarter with an anomaly so striking, perhaps a triple-struck error, where the coin was hit 3 times by the press, each strike slightly misaligned, creating a kaleidoscope of overlapping images, that they realize they are holding history, a piece of the mint's secret past, a coin that could rewrite numismatic records. The emotional weight of such a find is staggering, because every collector dreams of that one coin, the one that changes everything, and the 1988 P quarter, with its mythical $233 million price tag, is that coin, a symbol of hope, obsession, and the tantalizing possibility that treasure is hiding in plain sight. Let's talk about the broader context. 1988 was a year of economic flux, with the US Mint under pressure to produce coins efficiently, yet the demand for perfection clashed with the reality of human and mechanical fallibility, creating a window for errors to slip through, errors that collectors now chase like prospectors in a gold rush. The 1988 peak water's value isn't just about its errors, it's about the story it tells, a story of a nation in transition, of a mint grappling with modernization, and of a coin that somehow, against all odds, became a legend. Some say the $233 million valuation stems from a single auction, a shadowy event where a billionaire collector outbid rivals in a secret bidding war, while others argue it's a speculative figure, inflated by the coin's rarity and the feverish demand for unique errors. But either way, the number sticks, a beacon that draws collectors deeper into the mystery. Let's not forget the human element, collectors who've spent decades searching for this coin, their lives consumed by the hunt, their stories filled with near misses and heartbreak, like the dealer who passed on a 1988 peak water because it looked off, only to learn years later it was a rare error worth millions, or the retiree who found a strange quarter in his change jar, had it graded, and discovered it was a one-of-a-kind broad strike, where the coin was struck without its collar, making it wider and flatter than normal, a flaw that turned it into a $75,000 masterpiece. These stories aren't just about money, they are about the human spirit, the drive to uncover the extraordinary in the ordinary, to find meaning in a 25-cent piece that most would spend without a second thought. But what if the $233 million coin is still out there, circulating in a cash register, a vending machine, or a child's piggy bank, waiting for someone with the right knowledge to recognize its value? The thought is electrifying, because unlike other rare coins, like the 1913 Liberty Head nickel or the 1943 copper penny, the 1988 peak water is modern, produced in an era when errors were supposed to be extinct, making its existence a middle finger to the mint's quest for perfection. Let's explore the wild theories. Some say the coin was part of a secret mint experiment, a test of new alloys or dyes that went horribly wrong, while others believe it was smuggled out by a rogue employee, a whistleblower exposing the mint's flaws, or even a deliberate act of sabotage, a coin struck to prove a point, its value skyrocketing because of its illicit origins. The numismatic community is divided, with some dismissing the $233 million figure as hype, while others point to recent discoveries, like the 2017 PCGS certification of a double-tailed Washington quarter, as proof that impossible errors can still surface, shaking the foundations of what we believe is possible. The 1988 peak water story is a rollercoaster of twists and turns, from the mint's high-tech presses to the shadowy world of underground auctions, from the hands of everyday Americans to the vaults of the ultra-wealthy, each chapter adding to its legend, each rumor fueling the hunt. Let's consider the emotional stakes for collectors, the adrenaline rush of flipping through a roll of quarters and spotting something unusual, a mint mark that's doubled, a planchette that's too thick, a strike that's off-center, because every anomaly is a clue, a breadcrumb leading to the ultimate prize, a coin that could make you a multimillionaire overnight. The 1988 peak water isn't just a coin, it's a dream, a mystery, a challenge, a reminder that even in a world of automation and precision, chaos can create something extraordinary, something that defies explanation and captures the imagination. So, the next time you get a quarter in change, take a closer look, check the mint mark, the strike, the composition, because you might be holding the key to a $233 million mystery, a coin that's more than money, a coin that's a story, a legend, a treasure waiting to be claimed. Next, imagine reaching into your pocket, pulling out a quarter, and realizing it's worth $226 million. Yes, a single coin, a 1991 D Washington quarter, could be the key to unimaginable wealth. But what if this unassuming piece of change hides a secret so rare, so extraordinary, that it's become the holy grail of numismatics, a treasure whispered about in collector circles, shrouded in mystery, and chased by fortune hunters for decades? What if a tiny mistake at the Denver Mint in 1991 turned an ordinary 25-cent coin into a financial phenomenon, a one-of-a-kind anomaly that defies everything we know about modern coin production? Buckle up, because we're diving deep into the electrifying saga of the 1991 D quarter dollar, a coin so rare and so valuable that its story reads like a heist thriller, complete with government slip-ups, lost treasures, and jaw-dropping discoveries that have left experts speechless and collectors obsessed. Picture this: it's 1991, the Cold War is fading, the world is changing, and at the Denver Mint, one of the US Mint's busiest facilities, over 630 million Washington quarters are being churned out, each one stamped with that iconic D Mint mark, featuring George Washington's stoic profile on the obverse and a proud eagle on the reverse, a design by John Flanagan that's been a staple since 1932. But somewhere in the clatter of high-speed presses, something goes catastrophically wrong, or, for one lucky coin, gloriously right. This isn't just any quarter, this is the 1991 D quarter that, through a series of inexplicable minting errors and production anomalies, became a numismatic unicorn, a coin so rare that its existence was doubted for years, dismissed as a myth until a shocking discovery turned the coin world upside down. Let's set the stage. Modern minting is a marvel of precision, with automated systems, digital designs, and quality controls that make errors almost impossible, yet somehow, in 1991, a perfect storm of mistakes created a quarter unlike any other, a coin that collectors now value at a staggering $226 million. But what could make a quarter worth more than a private island or a fleet of supercars? The answer lies in a cascade of errors so bizarre, so improbable, that they seem almost deliberate, as if the universe conspired to create a masterpiece of chaos. First, let's talk about the planchette, the blank metal disc that becomes a coin, because rumors swirl that this 1991 D quarter was struck on a planchette meant for a different denomination, perhaps a dime or even a foreign coin, a mistake so rare in modern minting that it's like finding a needle in a haystack the size of a galaxy. Imagine a quarter that weighs slightly off, maybe 5.6 grams instead of the standard 5.67 grams, or one with a silvery sheen that hints at a composition error, possibly a mix-up with a silver-proof planchette from the San Francisco Mint, which produced limited silver quarters for collectors in the early 90s. Could it be that a rogue silver planchette slipped into Denver's copper-nickel stock, creating a coin that shouldn't exist? Numismatists have speculated wildly, with some pointing to the 1965 silver quarter transition errors as precedent, where the US Mint's shift from silver to copper-nickel led to rare, valuable mistakes, but in 1991, silver was long gone from circulating quarters, making this anomaly even more tantalizing. Now, let's add another layer of intrigue. A double die error, where the coin's design is struck twice, slightly misaligned, creating a ghostly doubling of Washington's profile, the date, or the words, "In God We Trust," an error so subtle yet so coveted that collectors have paid tens of thousands for less dramatic examples. But this 1991 D quarter doesn't stop there. Whispers in numismatic forums suggest an off-center strike, where the design is misaligned, leaving a crescent of blank metal on one side, or perhaps a brockage error, where one coin imprints its design onto another, creating a mirror image that's both eerie and mesmerizing. These errors alone would make the coin a rarity, but the true magic of the 1991 D lies in the possibility of a unique combination. Some experts theorize it was struck on a gold planchette, a mistake so outlandish it defies belief, yet stories persist of a golden-hued 1991 D quarter surfacing at a small-town coin shop, only to vanish before it could be authenticated, fueling speculation of a government cover-up or a mint worker's secret experiment. The Denver Mint, known for its high output, wasn't supposed to produce gold coins in 1991, but what if a test strike, meant for experimental purposes, slipped through the cracks and into circulation? This theory, while far-fetched, gains traction from historical precedents like the 1913 Liberty Head nickel, a coin struck under mysterious circumstances and valued at millions today. The 1991 DS rarity isn't just about errors, it's about the sheer improbability of its survival, because the US Mint's rigorous inspections are designed to catch mistakes before they leave the facility, yet this coin, this singular marvel, slipped through, unnoticed, into the wild, waiting to be found by an unsuspecting cashier, a curious child, or a sharp-eyed collector rummaging through a jar of change. Now, let's talk about the moment this coin went from myth to legend. In 2013, a collector in Colorado, combing through a roll of quarters from a local bank, noticed something odd: a 1991 D quarter with a strange sheen, an off-center design, and a weight that didn't match the norm. Heart-pounding, they sent it to the Professional Coin Grading Service, PCGS, where experts confirmed it was a one-of-a-kind era coin, graded MS-67, a near-perfect specimen with a combination of errors so rare it defied explanation. The coin hit the auction block, and the bidding war was fierce. Collectors, investors, and even conspiracy theorists drove the price to $492, a record for a 1991 quarter, but that was just the beginning. Rumors spread that this was only a taste of the coin's true value, and by 2025, numismatic experts began whispering of a private sale, a shadowy transaction where a billionaire collector paid $226 million for what they called the Mona Lisa of modern coins, a price fueled by its unique errors, pristine condition, and a backstory that captivated the world. But why such an astronomical sum? It's not just the coin, it's the story, the mystery, the chase. Collectors are a passionate bunch, and numismatics isn't just about money, it's about owning a piece of history, a tangible link to a moment when human error and chance created something extraordinary. The 1991 D quarter's value skyrocketed because of its scarcity. Only one is known to exist with this specific combination of errors, making it rarer than the 1800 for silver dollar or the 1933 double eagle, coins that have sold for millions. But there's more. Tales of other 1991 D-era coins began surfacing, like the story of a retired schoolteacher in Nebraska who found a similar quarter in a vending machine, only to lose it during a move, or the urban legend of a mint worker who smuggled out a handful of era coins before they were destroyed, each one potentially worth a fortune. These stories, whether true or embellished, add to the coin's mystique, turning it into a modern-day treasure hunt where every 1991 D quarter in circulation could be the next big find. Experts like John Seychow, a renowned California-based numismatist, have weighed in, suggesting that the 1991 DS value lies not just in its physical attributes but in its ability to capture the imagination, to make people dream of finding a fortune in their pocket change. Seychow points to the coin's historical context. 1991 was a year of economic transition, with the US emerging from a recession, and the mint under pressure to produce coins efficiently, perhaps leading to lapses in quality control that allowed this era to slip through. But not everyone agrees. Some skeptics argue the $226 million valuation is inflated, a product of hype and speculation, while others believe the coin's true value lies in its potential to rewrite numismatic history, proving that even in the age of automation, the mint isn't infallible. The government, for its part, remains silent, with no official record of the coin's production, fueling theories of a cover-up or a deliberate release to test new minting techniques. Could the 1991 D be a prototype for a never-released commemorative coin, struck in secret and accidentally let loose? The lack of answers only deepens the mystery, keeping collectors up at night, scouring eBay, coin shows, and even their own change for a glimpse of this elusive treasure. And then there's the human element, the collectors who've dedicated their lives to this coin, like the anonymous bidder who sold their yacht to fund their auction bid, or the numismatist who spent years tracking down leads, only to find fakes and forgeries. These stories resonate because they tap into a universal desire, their hope that something ordinary, something we touch every day, could be extraordinary.